Okay, so hello everybody. We got disconnected earlier, and if you were watching the first part of this live stream, well, I'm back here so that we can actually do the Gladiator show. So apologies for that. Literally, the wind on my machine decided to have a tantrum, but they seem to be fine now. So here we are again in Priory Park in Chichester to give you the last element of the Roman reenactment festival here in Chichester, which is the Gladiator show. They've just announced the gladiators were getting ready. In fact, I've just seen James picking up his gear. So we know that that's happening just in a couple of moments. So just kind of lingering, trying to find the best spot where we can see this happening. If at any point this breaks again, because it may, and I don't know anymore what's happening with either the machine or the internet, do not worry, I will be recording this and then putting it up on YouTube as well. I'm just gonna do a test, just because it was the way that I found out that the previous stream had just completely died on me, and I'm just gonna type something into the chat. So I'm just gonna drop a test there, and if you can see me and hear me, oh, there you go. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, sorry about that. The previous stream just completely gave up on live on me. And there you go. So the test message is coming through, so I know that it's working essentially. So I think we have. Oh, we're also gonna get the dummy gladiator show. I've just seen some of the interesting tools coming through. So James is literally just about to set up this, and we will be rolling in a moment. But good, I'm glad. Before we go, I will try and give you another look of what we may have missed when the stream died on the first turn around, just here in the camp and whatnot, just in case. But yeah, hopefully it should all be good, and we should just be able to get through this without much further ado. Hi Nathalie, thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if you were on the previous stream, but we were actually doing another one. It's actually in the playlist, so if you missed the earlier part of the stream before it died, you're very welcome to catch up with it. But right, I see, yes, one, two gladiators heading our way. So we will be starting very soon, and actually, if you were in the previous stream, you would see we've gathered a much bigger crowd all of a sudden, because this is the big show essentially. Yes, I was a bit. Oh, yes, it did completely die on its own. Not entirely sure why or how, but well, I'm glad that you were able to find us back. So in case that you guys haven't seen James the Roman before, or in case you don't know really much about this type of thing that we're about to see, the show is actually put up by the members of the Second Legion Augusta, that are a Roman reenactment group here in the south of England, normally based in the area of Portsmouth. They are actually amongst the best reenactment groups we have in the country, and specifically the gladiators are amongst the best in Europe. They actually get to go to many different shows across the continent. They are on films as well. So what you're about to see is actually very, very lucky, because in some other situations people have to pay good money to see this, but they are just getting ready in here. So I think the Gladiator show will be lasting about half an hour, give or take. I could be wrong. If I remember correctly, it's about 3 fights of 10 minutes each, something like that. I must have. Okay, awesome. I'm glad that you got it all set up. But yes, I believe it's half an hour. It could be a bit more. It could be a little bit less, just because the weather has changed, and I don't know if it's threatening to rain. But in any case, we should be able to see that very, very soon. And actually, that is the last event of the day. The actual program closes today at 4. I'm not really sure why they decided to have the big events today, because it's a Thursday. Well, for example, in the UK, it was a bank holiday on Monday. It was the 2nd May bank holiday, so it's been a bit weird and strange timing. But well, the kids, are on half term, so there is actually a very good turnout in that regard. But precisely because today we have mostly a kid audience, I just want to warn you that it will be a kid-friendly show in that regard. Sometimes, if you've seen some of the stuff that James does with us before, you would notice that it's a bit more intense. Today the intensity has to be, worked around the fact of the sensitivity of the majority of the people that are here. But it will still be entertaining, and I think it will still show you a thing or two, because in the majority of things we've done in the past with games, which mostly done military displays, so this is going to be very, very different from what we've seen them do before. I would like you to know that all of the weapons that you're going to be seeing in here, by the way, are actual weapons. They just don't have an edge. So, in the hypothetical, very unlikely, but hypothetical case of an injury happening is an actual injury in that regards. So, do not try this at home. Essentially, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes I do a little thing for the kids with like foamy swords, and if it's with a reasonably soft foam kind of thing, then go nuts, I guess. But yes, the rest of it is all proper gear. It's actually considered a theatrical equipment, so because they don't have a sharp edge, they are not actual weapons, but still used in the right way and hitting you in the wrong place, they could cause some damage. So like I said, do not try this at home. And they are just announcing on megaphony that we're about to get started. Now, because of the wind, it may be a bit... Oh, okay, clapping is coming. Okay, here they come. There you go. That's our retiarius. So there should be some explanations and some display. If the megaphony is overshadowed by the general chattering of people, I'll give you some brief summaries as we go along. Well,
ladies and gentlemen, I got your attention. We are Leg II Augusta, we are duel Augusta, and this is our Gladiator show! The term Gladiator was Latin for gladius. Gladius, gladiator, effectively means sword fighter. However, as you can probably see, I haven't got a sword. I've got a net and I've got a trident. And that's because there were lots of different types of gladiators. Yes, you had the sword fighters like Formality, Chichester, and Gladiator, but you also had other styles like me, the re-enactment, fighting with the trident and the net. You had spear fighters like the Formality. You had bow and arrow gladiators like the Sagittarius. Two-handed swordsmen like the Democrats. You even had gladiators who could fight in chariots, yes, chariots. There were lots of different types. And it's because it wasn't just about two guys standing in the middle of the sandy pit and having to go at each other. It was all about variety, because the main thing was entertaining all of you. Now today, let's say if you want to go to a football match, you might drive maybe 1 or 2 hours or so. The journey's not too bad. There were a lot of amphitheatres, but they were still quite scattered about. So if you wanted to go to see one of the games, it could be that you're travelling for maybe a day, maybe more. If the games then were over in an hour and the fights were pretty boring, you're probably going to think that it wasn't really worth your time and it wasn't worth your energy. The games themselves were quite political. It was a chance, let's say, for members of the political class, politicians, it was a chance for them to gain favour with you, in the hope that if they put on some really successful, entertaining games, you all go away really happy, and when the elections come, you end up voting for them.
Politicians.
These people would pay a lot of money to put on games like this. We're talking about potentially, in real terms money, hundreds of thousands of pounds. People did go bankrupt because of these games. They were trying to make them so lavish and exotic and entertaining. Now, the editor of the games for here is with us today, and he's decided to grace us with his presence. He wanted the best of the best. We weren't here last year. He wanted the best of the best, and money was no option. However, the tariffs have got involved, and you're stuck with us, I'm afraid. So please, let's give a big welcome to our editor, Donatus Trumpus.
A little bit of a play on modern day politics. The editor didn't come to play today.
He's obviously practicing his policies. When our editor decides to join us, he will take his seat of privilege there and he will oversee the game. He basically has the main decision of whether gladiators live or die. So although he has the main decision, you all influence it.
There is the editor just coming in now, the man with the robe.
There's been a really good fight and you're really happy with the loser and you're all voting for him to live. If he decides that gladiator is to die, he's going to make him very unpopular. Here we are, Donatus here. Let's give him another round.
Woo!
You ready, sir, to take your seat? Now, we talked about the games being entertaining and then not ending in about an hour or so. As far as we can tell, the games could last at least a day, maybe more. When the Colosseum opened, it said that there were 100 days of games to celebrate its grand opening. A day of the games could almost be split into 3 sections. You've got in the morning, and then midday and afternoon. In the morning, you might expect to see displays of animal hunts. This was a chance for you to see ferocious lions and vicious tigers, bear, elephants, ox, deer, alligators, any kind of animal. And it was a chance for Rome to kind of show off that...
No animals today, no animals will be harmed in the process of this reenactment show.
It had control over nature, its very self. In somewhere like the Colosseum, you could see an entire forest rise up from the ground, animals released from beneath the surface, wandering about, and then people going in and hunting them. So I have a question for the kids today. Do you want to see a lion? That was a bit rubbish. I said, do you want to see a lion? Do you want to see a lion? We haven't got one. Again, there were examples when games were organised that the animals either couldn't be captured, they got lost in transit, or they died beforehand. We sadly can't kill a lion because I'm called ours PCA. We're going to move on to the next bit, which is the midday part of the games. Now, in midday, kind of 12, 1 o'clock or so, this is normally a good time that people are going to go and get some food. Go to the toilet, have a look around the market, that kind of stuff, because this is when Rome carried out displays that really gave the games their bloody reputation. This is when you could expect to see slaves fighting in their hundreds in some mass mock battle. It's when you might see some of the executions, and it was a chance for Rome to carry out part of its justice system as well. You could be sentenced to a gladium, which was dying in the arena by gladiators, or a bestium, which was dying and being torn apart by some of those wild animals. Now, before we get on to that actually, we've got a little treat for you today.
Oh, a little treat.
Gladiators were extremely well trained. They would spend years practicing and training. It wasn't just a case of they were given a weapon and sent straight into the arena. They had to prove themselves. And it was difficult and it was strenuous. But the way that they did it possibly was through training and games. A gladiator school is called a ludus. It's a modern term called ludology, which means basically learning through play. So what we have with us is we have a brand new gladiator. We have a Noxus here. We have Tiberius. He sold himself into the gladiator school. He fell into some debt. And we're going to try and
Poor Tiberius. Let's see what he has to show.
We're going to play a game here. We're going to do 3 rounds. I'm going to have the spear. Tiberius here is going to have a sword and shield. He's got to try and get past my spear, and if he hits me with the sword, I've got to do 5 push-ups. If I manage to get through the shield and tap him with the spear, he's got to do 5 push-ups, and we're going to do best of 3. Would you like to see this as a little bit of light entertainment?
Yeah! All right, let's see how this goes. Put your bets in, just like in Roman times they would. Who you think is going to get more push-ups done?
And I need to
Our
take
veteran.
this off when we're combating, because otherwise the sound people are going to punch me.
Will it be our veteran Rathiarius or this new poor gladiator called Tiberius who's just been entering the Ludo because it got into debt that actually win the mock fight. So this is a mock fight, and this type of mock fights would have actually happened often in different versions of the games, by the way.
The order to start the games is pugnate, which means fight. So on the count of 3, I want you all to
Okay, we need to shout pugnate.
Pugnate, you ready?
Yes, we are ready.
1, 2, 3.
Pugnate! Oh, there is push-ups.
We weren't joking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Show off. Poor Tiberius.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more round?
Yeah! Well, if you bet it in favor of Tiberius, you would be ruined by now. Woo! Woo! So, after this little warm-up, we will have the proper fight. But first our gladiator needs to be mic'd, because otherwise we can't hear him.
Okay. You hear me? There we are. So we think the gladiators could have trained like that. We have some evidence for set maneuvers and counters, almost like patterns of 1, 2, 3 and ABC. Almost like patterns in modern day martial arts. We don't know for sure how they train. We don't know for sure how they fought. It's about just putting what evidence we have together to basically make our best interpretation. But now going to the midday part of the game. I talked about criminal and slave execution. Well, we've got one here for you today. Can you please bring out our slave?
Oh, the slave is gonna be put through trial by fire. If you were in our previous live stream, this is one of the slaves that were up for auction earlier, a rebellious Briton.
Now, there are a few ways that we can, we can dispatch her. We could, for instance, have a fight in a mock battle, but there's not enough space for that. We could have a fight in some mythical duel. We could maybe have her be torn apart by that lion, if we have it. We could even maybe just crucify her.
Ooh, crucifixion. It's like in Monty Python.
However, our editor here hasn't paid for any of that, so we're just going to simply stab her in the throat. Soldiers, when you're ready? Yeah, actually, hold on. I've got... Are you... Huh? Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Do we leave her? Well, let's ask the audience here. You wanted to pop in right now, or should we try and, I don't know, train her up, see how entertaining she is a bit later on?
Nothing like children to recreate the vivacious Roman crowds.
Can't make any sense of that. So, we're instead going to do something with our hand. Who thinks that this is live? Yeah? And who thinks that this is die? What have I told you? That is actually probably the other way round. This potentially means put your sword in the sand. Sheath your sword, let them live. The thumbs up potentially means go for the throat, jugular.
I know, brutal kids.
If you want our slave to live, tell the soldier to put his sword in the sand. If you want her to die, tell him to cut her throat.
Oof, tough crowd in here today. They're thirsty for blood.
Yeah, okay, the editor's made the decision, and she's going to live and fight another time.
Yay!
Let's get her out.
So you can see Chichester being true to its Roman origins. I think there was actually an amphitheater here somewhere in the back of what is now the area of Chichester, probably closer to Fishbourne Roman Village.
We're now going to come to the afternoon part, and this is when you would see the main gladiators. Like I said, it's not about two guys standing in a sandy pit having a go at each other. It is about entertainment, it's about excitement, but also it's a lesson in morality and bravery to you all. To really emphasize this, I need a volunteer. Preferably,
an adult.
Yeah, you, sir?
Oh, here we have fresh victim, spool gentleman coming in.
Go. Hello, what's your name? David. Good to meet you. Go.
Yes, we are in Prairie Park.
The Gladiator!
Ooh!
Now, what's going to happen to others is we're going to have a fight, okay? We're going to go over what it means to be a gladiator. But beforehand, there are a few formalities to go through. The first one is called the pompa. It's where we get the pompas from. It's about showing off. It's a chance for the gladiators to parade around the arena, show themselves off, take in the applause and also the boos of the audience. So what I'd like you to do now, artists, is just take a walk around the arena, take in the cheers, take in the boos, show yourself, show them.
I don't know how this is gonna go.
Show us the gun show.
Woo! Yay!
You might be cheering him, you might be booing him, because you probably betted on whether he is going to win or lose. Now we come to the second part, which is called the armaturum. It's basically the inspection of the weapons. We would have a ref, and he would basically make sure that the gladiators are equipped with the right shields, helmets, weapons, and if not, they basically got a scolding and had to go back inside and grab the right stuff. So we're going to do that. We're going to do the inspection of the weapons.
Right. Let's see if these weapons are legit.
Actually, I'm going to stand you that way so I can still talk into the speakers. They say that there is no greater power in the universe than the power of the imagination. So, the artists, I want you to have your imaginary sword of legend in your right hand and your impenetrable shield in your left. Great. Now, I don't have an imagination, so I'm going to use these, okay?
It seems a bit of an unfair fight, but well.
Now we come to the fight. Again, the order would be given by the editor of Formality, and the fight would begin. So the riders, you've got your sword and you've got your shield. Brilliant. I've got mine. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, editor, on your order. And we would start fighting. Now, could be that you and I have had a few fights together. Gladiators didn't just fight, like one fight, and if they lost, they died. We have a lot of evidence that gladiators won a lot of fights, that they could also lose a lot of fights. They could even have a lot of fights with a draw. It might be you and I have had a rivalry. We fought each other before. We know how each other fights. So it could be that you know my initial attack is a straight lunge with my trident. But you could try and brace it and take the impact like a powerful gladiator. So also experience might tell you you want to maybe dodge to your left. So as a dodge comes in, good. Now you might know that I'm also quite a sneaky fighter. So after you've dodged my trident, you've still got to worry about my neck. Part of my tactic is maybe to go for the head in a great big head sweep. So again, you may try and take it, but this could have lead balls on the end of it.
Ooh,
you may not necessarily want to get hit by it. So having a big low duck, nice, is going to prove good. However, that's not it. Again, I could be a sneaky fighter. Once I've done the head and you dodged it, you might remember that in the last fight, I went for your legs and tripped you up. So after that head, you may also want to do a big jump.
Woo!
So now let's say that we've been fighting a few minutes, and for whatever reason, it could be the sun just caught you the wrong angle, it could be a pretty lady in the audience just caught your attention for that split second, but for whatever reason, I've managed to get in between your defense and give you a mortal blow. This then brings us to the next part. The downside of being a gladiator.
Very brave indeed, and actually doing pretty alright, to be fair.
That you are just going to crumple down into a ball of your own blood and guts. You are basically going to show us how a Roman is meant to face danger and death. Okay? So you are going to give us that brave, defiant death. You're basically going to give us your best death. Okay?
Ooh, best death.
I'm going to lay out your blood.
That's the blood splatter.
There we are. So, when I give you that mortal blow, I want you to, like I said, give us that great big lesson in standing the fight against death, but the inevitable overcomes you, and you eventually fall and die in your own blood. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so I've managed to get in between your shield. Give me that mortal blow, go! He's trying to stand still. He's trying to, but no.
Oh.
Right, you give it back to me in a second. Okay. Now, our gladiator here has taken a mortal blow. He may already be dead. We don't know. It may if the editor has paid for a gladiator to die, he has paid a lot of money for that. We do know that there's some instances when gladiators could fake their own death. And so that gladiator has, in theory, died. But he then turns up at the next fight with a different look. The editor is probably going to feel like he got robbed, which he did. So instead, as another character of the arena
Identity
to check if the
theft in Roman times, Gladiator edition.
That is the Charon. Now the Charon would come out with two bits of equipment. He would first of all come out with a red hot poker. And the idea would be that he would apply it to the gladiator's skin. Now it does not matter how tough you are, if somebody puts a red hot poker to you, you are going to scream. So we're going to say that our gladiator here is still alive. We might think he's dead, but he's still alive. I'm going to apply that red hot poker to his skin, and we're going to see if he screams or not. It's a pretty decent scream. There are also sometimes signs that a gladiator, his legs might start twitching. Yourself.
No evidence.
Now that we know he's alive, we need to put him out of his misery. So Charon would then use the second tool, which is this big hammer. Now he's not striking to the legs, he's not striking here, on the head. So, close your eyes to this, because you don't want to necessarily see this. Is your family here? The two doctors. Put your hands up. Oh, then. There, cool. Right, do you want to do it?
Right. Today in this family-friendly show, daughter puts down dad after he was a very successful gladiator through Roman entertainment.
Right, what's going to happen is I'm going to give you this hammer, and you're going to give him the best killing blow. You ready? And you're going to aim right there, okay? We're going to count with us. On a count of 3, you're going to strike. You ready? You ready to count?
Yep.
1,
2, 3.
Strike.
Oh. Oh.
The skull would be crushed, the brains would basically implode, and it would well and truly be an ex-gladiator. But please, for our volunteer here, Davardus, please give him a massive round of applause.
Woo! Just making you aware, guys, it's just kind of started to spit a little and the wind has changed, so we may have some issues with connection. Hopefully, I think it should last, because we don't have very long.
Okay, this then brings us to the main event. I'm now fighting properly. I am fighting my opponent on the Secutor, the typical opponent of a Retiarius. Now he and I have had a bit of a rivalry. He's won a few fights against me, I've won a few fights against him. We're going to settle it today with a fight to the death. So,
and this is the final pit of the Gladiator show. Uh-oh, plot twist.
What? What do you mean he's not coming?
Yeah, because you cannot hear it. The Secutor had to go to the toilet, was not feeling great, so he will not be fighting today.
Oh.
Apparently he swallowed a sponge while he was cleaning his business in the Roman latrines. So instead we're gonna have a replacement.
I win by default.
Boo!
I don't make the rules.
We need a replacement fire. Oh, pick her! That is, by the way, is Alisa. Alisa is one of the best gladiators in all of Europe, even though she's been pretending to be a quaint Roman slave. In fact, she's done many appearances in many different shows, so you may have seen her.
Do you want to see?
And her and James have put on some very important shows all over. So, yeah! Gladiatrix were actually popular in the Roman world, by the way.
All right. Nothing. All right, fine. I do want to make one thing clear, though, of course. This is very out of the ordinary.
It is.
Yes, there were female gladiators. They were very popular. They were very skilled. However, they did not compare to a professional trained male gladiator.
Boo!
It's because it wouldn't be a fair fight. I would not be fighting, let's be honest, the weaker sex. It's just how...
And here is a doctrine on gender standards in Roman times.
I'll try and make it as entertaining as possible. Let's get some of the pomp out of the way. Who thinks that this slave is going to win?
Woo!
Who thinks that I'm going to win? Yeah, I now know who the sexists are in the audience. Huh?
Woo!
Me! All right, I'm going to take this off again. Our editor is, well, all of you actually can give the order signate, and we will begin.
I promise you that he can take a beating, Jeannie. In fact, I'll do no spoilers, but I already know how this goes. He needs to remove the mic, because otherwise these are actual weapons. It's not like the props that we saw earlier. And although Alice's sword is not sharp, well, that's still, you know, hard metal that if you just are not careful could really hurt you. So here we go. Ooh. So what the retiarius is doing, and normally does, is try to use the trident, there you go, to remove the shield. That's a very typical type of tactic that this type of gladiator had to do. So he's suggesting that the fight was not fair because he's been a trained gladiator for many years, so he's going to get rid of some of his equipment to level up the playing field and make this more of a fair fight. Yeah!
Have you got anything better to do?
Intimidation tactics and antics. again, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, today we're having the kid-friendly version of this show because obviously there's many of them. So this is this is still the diluted version of what these gladiators can do. It was in Spain, Ginny. Oh, and that's it. The Retiarius is dead. They're gonna try to revive the Gladiator. However, the wind is really doing a number again, so I don't know how long this will survive for. We'll probably be able to catch the end, just about.
Alright, that was a lucky shot from her, I'll give her that. Before we end, I've got a couple of questions for the kids. The first one is, did you enjoy that? The second one is, do you think you could do any better? If you think you can,
go and have a look over there.
Soldiers, can you pick about 20 volunteers?
Okay, and that's officially the end of the Gladiator show. They are gonna now do a kid training session, and that will be taking part on the other side of the park. So this is all for today. I think the stream is just about hanging on a thread. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that you found something interesting about it, and you know, if you are around next time in Chichester, don't forget to actually go to the Novium Museum and actually see all the stuff that they have in here. No worries, it's my pleasure. And well, the rain is actually gonna start settling in, so I'm gonna go take some cover and have a drink. See you later, everybody. Bye bye.